Good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to study the fourth chapter of our English course book, The Final Victory, written by Khaled Hosseini. So, first of all, we'll study about our author Khaled Hosseini. So, our author Khaled Hosseini was born in the year 1965 in Kabul. Khaled Hosseini was born in the year 1965 in Kabul. He was an Afghan American novelist. He was called as an Afghan American novelist because he stayed in Afghanistan as well as in America also. After graduating from college, he worked as a doctor in California. Okay. So basically, when Khaled Hosseini completed his education in the college, he started working as a doctor in the California. He started writing full time after the success of the Kite Runner novel. So Khaled Hosseini started to write full time after the success of his novel The Kite Runner. So this chapter, The Final Victory, has been taken from the novel The Kite Runner. The Kite Runner was the first novel written by Khaled Hosseini, and when it became successful, Khaled Hosseini started writing full time. Okay, he wrote three novels. Those Khaled Hosseini have written three novels: The Kite Runner, A Thousand Splendid Suns, and The Mountain Echoed. These are the three novels written by Khaled Hosseini. All the three novels became bestseller. Okay, now with the all the three novels which Khaled Hosseini have written had become best sellers. So this was an introduction of the author Khaled Hosseini. Now we'll study about the characters of the chapter The Final Victory. So the first character is our Amir. Amir. So, Amir is the protagonist or the main character of the chapter. He is the speaker of the chapter. Amir is the speaker of chapter, and Amir lacks confidence. He is a boy who lacks confidence. Now the next character is Hassan. The second character of the chapter is Hassan. Hassan was Amir's closest childhood friend. Hassan was Amir's closest childhood friend. Now the third character of the chapter is Baba. Baba is Baba is Amir's father, and he is also a very wealthy businessman. Now the next last character is Rahim Khan. Rahim Khan. Rahim Khan was a friend of Baba, means Amir's father, and they were also business partners. Okay, so there are four characters in this chapter. The first character is Amir, then Hassan, then Baba, and Rahim Khan. Now let's move on to the chapter The Final Victory. The Final Victory chapter has been taken from the novel The Kite Runner. Okay. The kite flying tournament was an old winter tradition in Afghanistan. It started early in the morning on the day of the contest and didn't end until only the flying kite flew in the sky. Okay, so this tournament in Afghanistan, there was a tournament, there was a winter tradition like here during. Sankranti in our India, we have a tradition to fly kites, isn't it? Similarly, in Afghanistan also there was a old winter tradition of having a kite fighting tournament, and this tournament used to start early in the morning and on the day of the and didn't end until only the okay, and it would continue until the last kite was left in the sky. The last kite would be the winning kite, obviously, because the winning kite would have cut all the remaining kites, and the competition would only end when only the last kite was left on the sky. Once the tournament outlasted daylight. Okay, what happened that once the tournament outlasted daylight means it continued even after there was no day, after the day also. Okay, it means it continued at night also. People gathered on sidewalks and roofs to cheer for their kids. The street fills with kite fighters, jerking and tugging on the line, squirting up to the sky, trying to gain position to cut the opponent's line. Okay, so people started to gather on the sidewalks of their house and on the roofs so that they could cheer for their kids, because almost every kid used to take part in this tournament. And the streets were filled with kite fighters. Who are the kite fighters? Kite fighters are the competitors of the kite flying tournament. Okay, they are called as kite fighters. They were used to struggle very hard, and they were trying very hard so that they could cut the opponent's kite. Okay, every kite fighter had an assistant, in my case Hassan. So every kite fighter used to have a assistant. And in case of the speaker, who is the speaker? Amir Agha. Okay, in case of the speaker Amir Agha, his assistant was Hassan. Amir Agha was the kite fighter and his assistant was Hassan, who held the spool and fed the line. So what was the work of the kite fighter? The kite fighter used to hold the spool. Spool, you can say, reel. Okay, like we have also seen that when we fly kite, someone or the other holds our reel and gives us the line. Na? Similarly, here it was the work of the assistant, and Hassan was the assistant of Amir Agha. Okay. The fun began when a kite was cut. That was where the kite runners came in. Okay, what happened? Only the fun used to begin when the a kite got cut, and after a kite got cut, the work of the kite runners. Who are the kite fighters? Kite fighters used to fly the kite, and after the kite used to get cut, the kite runners used to come. What they used to do? Those kids who chased the wind blown kite drifting through the neighborhood until it came spiraling down in a field, drooping in someone's road or a tree or a rooftop. Okay, so when a kite used to get cut, the kite runners used to run after that kite, and wherever the wind used to take the kite, it could take it into a field or into someone's yard or tree or rooftop, and they used to run after that kite so that they could get a hold of that kite. The chase used to get pretty fierce. Hordes of kite runners swarmed the streets, shoved past each other like those people from Spain I had read about once, the ones who run from the bulls. Okay, so this in basically the children used to fly kites. Kite fighters used to fly kites in the rooftops and all, and in the roads. There were the roads were filled with kites runners, and they used to run past each other just like the people of Spain who used to run from the bulls, as we have seen the bullfighting in Spain and all. We know about that. So how the people used to run from the bull, similarly the kite runners used to run past each other like that only. Okay, one year a neighborhood kid climbed a pine tree for a kite. A branch snapped under his weight and he fell 30 feet, getting severely injured. Okay, once what happened? A kid from the neighborhood, a kite got cut and it got stuck in a pine tree. Okay, so what did this neighborhood kid do? He climbed the neighborhood tree, the pine tree, and when he reached the branch of where the kite was got stuck, the branch got broken and he fell 30 feet higher, fell 30 feet, and he got very severely injured because of that fall. Okay, but he fell with the kite still in his hand. But even though he fell for 30 feet, but he still had the kite in his hands. And when a kite runner had his hands on a kite, no one could take it from him. That wasn't a rule, that was a custom. Okay. And if a kite runner is having a kite in his hand, nobody will take that kite from that kite runner forcefully. And this was not the rule, this was a custom. It means it was a tradition. If someone have taken that kite, got that kite, nobody will forcefully take away that kite from that person. For the kite runners, the most coveted prize was the last funnel kite of the winter tournament. Okay, so what was the biggest prize for the kite runner? the biggest prize was that the last fallen kite, suppose at last only two kites will be left, okay, and the one must fall, one must get cut and fall. So the to get the last fallen kite was the biggest prize for the kite runners. It was a trophy of honor, something to be displayed on a mantle for guests to admire. Okay, it was like a trophy of honor for the kite runners, and it is something which they could display in the mantle of their house. Mantle means a place where we display our, like in drawing room we have some mantles and all where we display different items. So it was like a the thing which could be displayed in the mantle of for the guest, so that whenever the guest would come into our house and they could look at it and admire it. Okay, when the sky cleared of kite and only the final two remained, every kite runner readied himself for the chance to land this prize. Okay, in the beginning there used to be a lot of kite, but at the end of the tournament only two kites are left in the sky, and when only two kites are left, the kite runner used to get all the kite runner used to get ready so that they could land the biggest prize. And what was the biggest prize? The last fallen kite. He positioned himself a spot that he thought would give him a head start. Okay, every kite runner used to stand in a certain place from where they used to think that they would get a good start or they would get nearer to the fallen kite. Tense muscle readied themselves to uncoil, necks craned, eyes crinkled, fights broke out, and when the lights kid, all hell broke loose. Okay, so just they used to look to in the sky, and the kite runners used to wait for the last kite to fall, and they used to you can say before running or doing any kind of exercise or game, we just stretch, no, so they all do a type of stretching, you can say. And when the last kite was cut, it feels like what happened all of a sudden. There were used to be such a chaos, and they used to run in such a pace, it seems like all hell used to break loose. Over the years, I had seen a lot of guy run kites, but Hassan was by far the greatest kite runner I had ever seen. Now the speaker is saying that Amir Aga is saying that in the past years, I have seen a lot of boys who run for kites, but Hassan was the greatest kite runner he had ever seen. It was downright eerie the way he always got if, sorry, the way he always got to the spot the kite would land before the kite did. Okay, so it was a kind of strange that he always used to know that the where the kite will fall. Okay, he always used to know from before only that after cutting where the kite will fall. So from previously from before only he used to go and stand at that spot. Okay, uh, it was the kite did, as if had some sort of inner compass. It seemed to Amir Agha that Hassan had some kind of inner compass set in himself. The day of the tournament dawned. Street glistened with fresh snow, and the sky was a blameless blue. Okay, now it was this year's day of the kite flying tournament, and there were fresh snow on the streets, and the sky looked blue. Okay, snow blanketed every rooftop and weighed on the branches of the stunted mulberry trees that lined our street. Okay, so there was snow in the every roof of the house and on the mulberry trees which were planted across the street. Okay, I heard Mama Baba mutter a prayer under his breath. He always said a prayer when I left the house. Okay, now this Amir Agha, the speaker, was also getting ready for the kite flying tournament, and when he was getting ready to come out for the tournament, he heard Baba muster a prayer. Slowly muster a prayer. He always used to say, his Baba always used to say a prayer whenever he used to leave for the house. I had never seen so many people on our streets. Kids were flinging snowballs, squabbling, chasing one another, giggling. Okay. So Amir Aga is saying that he had never seen so many people on the streets. Kids were throwing snowballs, they were squabbling, chasing one another, or giggling. They were playing and giggling, smiling, and doing all those kind of things. Okay. Kite fighters were huddling with their pool holders and making last minute preparation. Now all the kite fighters were standing together, crowding together with their pool holders. Pool holders means the reel. Okay, uh, and making all the last minute preparations. From adjacent street I could hear laughter and chatter. Okay, from the adjacent street, from the nearby street, you can say that he could Amir Agha was able to hear the laughter and chatter of the people. Chatter means talking of the people. Already rooftops were jammed with spectators reclining in lawn chairs, hot tea steaming from thermoses, and the music of Ahmad Zair playing from the cassette players. Okay, and all the rooftops were filled with spectators. Who are the spectators? Spectators were the people who came there to look the kite flying tournament. Okay, the rooftops were filled with spectators who were sitting in lawn chairs. There was hot steaming tea steaming for coming in the thermos, and they played the music of Ahmad Zair in their cassette players. I turned my gaze to a rooftop, found Baba and Rahim Khan sitting on a bench, both dressed in wool sweaters, sipping tea. Baba waved. I couldn't tell if he was waving at me or Hassan. Okay. Now, the speaker looked at his own rooftop. He found his Baba and Rahim Khan. Who was Rahim Khan? His father's very loyal friend and business partner. Okay, were sitting on a bench. They were both dressed in woolen sweaters and sipping tea, having tea. Baba waved. Then, after some time, Baba waved, and he was unable to understand that did his Baba wave to him or to Hassan. You can say he was a bit jealous of Hassan also throughout his life. We should get started, Hassan said. He wore black rubber snow boots and a bright green chapan over a thick sweater and a faded corduroy pants. Okay. So Hassan was his assistant. Okay. So Hassan said to Amir that we should get started. Hassan was wearing a black rubber snow boots and bright green chapan. What is chapan? Chapan is a coat worn over clothes usually during winters. It is a basically type of overcoat which we wear over clothes during winter. Okay, he was wearing snow boots. He was wearing bright green chapan over a thick sweater. Under the chapan he was wearing a thick sweater and faded corduroy pants. Corduroy is a type of fabric. Okay, and he was wearing faded corduroy pants. Sunlight washed over his face, and in it I saw how well the pink scar above his lip had healed. Okay, now sunlight was falling on his face, and he in that sunlight, Amir was able to see that how the pink scar, actually Hassan had something above his lip, and he there was an operation of that scar. Okay, so when sunlight fell on the face of Hassan, Amir was able to see that how the scar above his lip had healed, had been cured. Suddenly, I wanted to withdraw, pack it all, and go back home. Okay. Now, suddenly, what happens after some time that Amir doesn't want to take part in the competition and he want to quit, and he's saying that he want to pack it all and go back to home. What was I thinking? Why was I putting myself through there when I already knew the outcome? So he was questioning himself. He's questioning himself that what was he thinking? Why was he he's questioning himself that why was he putting himself through this when he already knew the outcome. He thought that he might fail. He was in a strong belief that he might fail, and he was thinking that even I know I am going to fail, then still why I am doing this. Okay, Baba was on the roof watching me. I felt his glare on me like the heat of blistering sun. Okay, his Baba was sitting on the roof and he was watching him, and the look of Baba to Amir, it felt like the heat of a blistering sun. Okay, that look of his father looking at him and looking at his performance, he felt that it was his look of a heat of, it felt like to him like a heat of the blistering sun, like he was getting conscious, you can say, because of the look of his father. Look means he, because of his father, as his father was watching him. This would be a failure on a great scale even for me. So he was thinking that if I fail over here, it would be a very big failure for him. I'm not sure if I want to fly kite today, I said. It's a beautiful day, Hassan said. So Amir said to Hassan that I'm not sure even I want to fly kite today or not. So Hassan said to its reply that it's a beautiful day. I shifted on my feet, tried to peel my gaze away from rooftop. I don't know, maybe we should go home. So Hassan moved a bit aside, and he tried to look away from the rooftop. Uh, and further, he said that I don't know, maybe we should go home today. I don't feel like taking part in the competition. Okay. Then he stepped toward me and in a low voice said something that scared me a little. Then Hassan stepped towards Amir and he said something to Amir in a low voice. Remember, Amir Agha, there is no monster, just a beautiful day. How could I be such an open book to him when half the time I had no idea what was milling around in his head? Okay, so Hassan came to him and told him that, remember, Amir, that there is no monster today and it is just a beautiful day. What was the monster they are talking about? This monster can be only the thoughts of Amir, or or it may be also possible that he's denoting his father as the monster, as he was afraid of getting losing in front of his father, anything. Okay, so Hassan was able to understand that Amir was getting afraid. That's why he tried to pacify Amir by saying that, oh, remember, Amir, that there is no monster, just a beautiful day. And listening to the statement of Hassan, Amir got a bit shocked and he thought among himself only that how Hassan is able to understand Amir so nicely when he has no idea, when Amir himself has no idea that what Hassan thinks. Okay, Amir doesn't have a bit idea about Hassan's way of thinking or what does Hassan thinks in his head, but Hassan completely understands Amir. I was the one who went to school, the one who could read, right? I was smart one. Hassan could not read a first grade textbook, but he had read me plenty. That was a little unsettling, but also sort of uncomfortable to have someone who always knew what you need. Okay, so Amir is self-analyzing himself and saying that I was the one who used to go to school. I was the one who could read and write. I was the smart one. And Hassan had doesn't know even to read a first grade textbook. But he knows me pretty well. He knows me pretty well, that how I think, how I feel. Okay, that was a little unsettling, but also he find comfortable to have someone who always knew what he wanted. As he also felt very grateful for Hassan, to have someone like Hassan, as Hassan always used to knew that how Ami used to feel. No monster, I said, feeling a little better to my surprise. So he again confirmed, Amir, from Hassan, that no monster. He smiled, no monster. And he smiled and replied, Hassan smiled and replied that no monster. Are you sure? Uh, Amir asked him, are you sure? He closed his eyes, nodded. Okay, he closed his eyes and nodded to move one's head in approval. Okay, he moved his head in approval. I looked at the kids scampering down the street flinging snowball. It is a beautiful day, isn't it? Then he looked at the kids. Amir he looked at the kids in the street and throwing snowballs at each other. Then Amir said to Hassan that it is a beautiful day, isn't it? Then Hassan replied that, okay, let's fly our kite. Let's do it, I said. To which Amir replied, okay, let's do it. Hassan's face brightened. Good, he said. So when Amir said, let's do it, so Hassan got very excited. His face brightened with happiness and he said, good. He lifted our kite, red with yellow borders, and just beneath where the central and crossbars met, marked with Saifo's unmistakable signature. Okay. So what did Hassan do? Hassan lifted the kite, and it was a red kite with yellow borders, and just beneath were the central and cross bars. Okay, and just under where the central and cross bars met. Spars means a thick, strong pole. Okay, marked with Sifos unmistakable. It was a crossbar, like you can see the, I think, a kite. At the ending of the kite, there was a unmistakable Sifos signature. Okay, Sifos signature. He licked his finger and held it up, tested the wind, and then ran in its direction. Okay, then what did Hassan do? He licked his finger and licked it up. Okay, licked it up means he licked his finger. He just licked his finger and lifted it up to see where was the direction, so that the saliva from his hand could flew away. Okay, so that he could get an idea of the direction of the wind. Then he flew his kite then ran in its direction. On those rare occasions we flew kites in the summer, he would kick up dust to see which way the wind blew it. Okay, and in that direction he wanted to fly the kite. So during the summer, when and sometimes they used to fly their kites during the summer, what he used to do, he used to take a handful of sand and used to blow the sand in the wind so that he could get to know the direction of the wind. And now, as it was winter time, there was no sand, so he just licked his finger and wanted to see that where the saliva of his hand is moving, so that he could fly their kite in that direction. The spool rolled in my hands until Hassan stopped about 50 feet away. Okay, so until Hassan kept on flying the kite for 50 feet and the spool was rolling in the hands of Amir. He held the kite over his like an Olympic athlete showing his gold medal. Okay. I jerked the string twice or using a usual signal and Hassan tossed the kite. Our usual thing. Okay. So Hassan was holding the kite high over his head like an Olympic athlete who is showing his gold medal. Now, what did Amir do? He jerked the string twice, the string from which we get hold of the kite. So he jerked it twice, and it was the signal between Hassan and Ali that okay, now I will take hold from there. Okay, it was the signal, and Hassan tossed the kite. It means Hassan left the kite. Okay, this was the first part of the chapter. In the next class, we are going to study the next part of the chapter. Thank you, everyone.